Facebook group called Stop the Mosque.
Okay.
We have a reach now of around 300,000 in Australia,
Right.
and I've come here to vote myself personally in this seat.
Right.
I want to ask you, why do you think Clive, who was a great funder of the National Party, great funder of the Liberal Party, an enormous campaign organiser, and I have to tell you, one of the best trainers of polling booth workers I have ever encountered in my 50 years of working on polling booths. Why does Clive put the Liberal Party and the Labor Party in the same bundle? Because surely if he does that, isn't he responsible to some extent for the nature of the Liberal Party today?
He is, but then he likes to have his own voice and have the voters have a second opportunity, and not just the 1-2 party vote. He'd like to bring issues out into the arena that gives voters a second chance to voice their own opinion rather than a two-party preferred situation that's currently in place at the moment.
I see. So Clive hasn't actually issued preferences at all?
No preferences to anybody.
So do you think that Clive might be worried that if people vote for him and don't preference the National Liberal Party, that the Labor Party might win the seat?
No.
Not necessarily this seat.
Not this seat, for the obvious reasons.
Other seats.
Other seats, it could happen, yes.
So that terminology politically is called siphoning off the vote, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that because he's got an inherent grudge against the National Liberal Party for not endorsing him?
No, he has no grudge. He just wants equality and fairness for the voter to be able to make the decision that gives them the chance of what they honestly believe should happen in Australia, in Queensland in particular.
Is it fair for Clive to get someone's vote who doesn't want to see Labor in and not recommend the number 2 vote go to the National Liberal Party?
It's not a question of fairness, it's a question of who's available.
Well, you mentioned fairness a minute ago.
Yeah, that's right. But I'm saying at the end of the day, you have to vote for somebody. You do have to vote for somebody.
But why vote for somebody and then tear your vote up and not let the second preference come into play?
Well, we haven't spoken about donkey votes, have we? So
well, donkey votes aren't really relevant.
I understand, but I think there's a lot of people that are just dissatisfied with politics in general,
yes.
And they would just vote for nothing. So it's to be unqualified vote.
Do you think that's aided by a senior politician like Clive Palmer suggesting that the Liberal Party and the Labor Party are the same sort of party when they're very different?
They are very different, but the policies of asset sales are the same.
Yes.
And that's one of the major points in the election campaign.
Yes.
They were trying to stop asset sales, and both parties of Labor and Liberal were and for asset sales over the last couple of years. Now, they might have changed their tune now, but the asset sales...
Oh, they're only changing the tune for electoral purposes.
I understand that.
If the utilities, the gas, electricity, the water, the sewerage, those utilities cannot be in the hands of private enterprise.
No, cannot.
Private enterprise only functions, or capitalism only functions, when there's a degree of competition involved.
That's why we're saying vote one, to have that opportunity to stop it.
And they're owned by the people, the vote payers.
Correct.
They're owned by the taxpayers.
That's right, exactly.
So that should be run efficiently.
That's right.
It would be far better for the utilities to be in the hands of government, with government employing skilled private enterprise type people to compete for the contract.
That's what I'm saying.
To make sure they're more profitable.
So if we look at the actual cost of electricity, it's supposedly 20%.
So in all conscience, if Clive believes in that,
He does believe in that.
shouldn't he be preferencing Liberal National parties for the purpose of ensuring that Queensland isn't beset with another Labor government? I'll tell you what the last Labor government did. The last Labor government spent $18 billion of money it gathered from selling assets. $18 billion. And they had a debt of $80 billion.
Yes.
That's nearly 98 billion. That's nearly $100 billion.
So have you actually qualified the actual debt? How's it split? How's the actual debt split? Do we know as a public out there?
They don't really know.
No, but that's
whatever they know is it's a very big debt.
But I'm saying, Labor or Liberal, can anybody tell us right here and now, how is the debt split? What do we owe to who? Well, the question.
Yeah, it's a very good question, and I'm not about to answer it. I'm about to say this, though.
Yes.
That debt, and they're selling off for those $18 billion worth of assets, Queensland cannot be trusted to Labor again, can it?
No. It can't be trusted Liberal at the moment because they're still going to do an asset sale. So that's
what,
we have to
what,
keep
what,
insisting.
What do you think of the proposition
Yes.
that to solve the debt crisis, if Campbell Newman had said, well, you voted Labor, now you have to pay for it, we're going to tax our way out of this debt, we're going to tax ourselves to the extent that we don't inhibit consumer confidence, that we don't restrict the productivity and the creativeness of small business, and so we're going to tax the maximum we can without adversely affecting, and we're not going to sell assets.
Again, the public doesn't actually know, as a corporation, Queensland, what does it cost to run Queensland? Nobody knows that.
Do you know?
No, I don't know either.
Well,
so, you know,
maybe Clive will find out if he gets elected.
That's right. So until we understand the cost of running the state, it's really hard to decide where to put the money. Put it this way: there's supposedly $8.6 billion available suddenly to be able to spend $1.5 billion on roads between Brisbane and Gold Coast. How is that possible if we're trying to run the debt down?
Alex, I think you're a good candidate.
I'm trying hard. I'm trying hard for the people of
I have to tell you though, in my preference flow in this seat, Stop the Mosque is going to be recommending you number 3.
Okay, I appreciate that.
We're going to recommend you number 3.
Right.
In some seats, we have recommended you before the NLP. I'm talking about Parliament Party. In this particular seat, Stop the Mosque is going to be recommending Stephen Green, the Family First.
I understand.
The job of Stop the Mosque is to find candidates who are not going to be dhimmis. The job of Stop the Mosque is to find candidates who are going to preserve Australia through the legislation against advancing Islam.
I understand.
So it's very good to meet you.
No problem. Nice to meet you. If there's anything else I can help you, let me know.
Thank you. Good on you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.